Hello and welcome to the Football Talk podcast. I am Joshua Call and my co-host is...
Dave Nichols. Hello.
Well, hello. Oh, he's ready as ever. Ready for it. Ready for another week of football.
Yeah.
Today on the agenda we have instead of a football fact, we're going to start with a football quiz. Then we'll go into a Premier League roundup, a Premier League preview, and then we've got lots of questions this week from our avid listeners. So we're going to tackle some of those.
Yeah,
so
good.
It should be exciting. But first off, we'll start with our week in football. Dave, how's your week in football been?
Well, it's gone very well compared to previous weeks. I'll start with my actual personal football very quickly. So today we were playing the league leaders. I've just got in from playing this game. We were playing the league leaders who haven't lost in 32 games. They haven't even... they haven't lost a game in 32 games. We played them last week and drew 1-1, and this week we beat them 2-1 and inflicted their first defeat in 32 games. Absolutely brilliant. Well happy with that. So it puts us into...
Well done. And where are you in the league?
We're now up to third, and we are 1 point behind second place. And we play them, I think, in the last game of our season in about 3 weeks' time. So it's all to play
your
for,
season runs a bit odd then.
Yeah, so the seasons over here for amateur football are very strange. They don't have like a set time frame. It's just when they can book the pitch. Well, they block book the pitches and then sort out the fixtures after they've got the block booking of all the pitches to play here. So we've now got 3 weeks of playing friendlies before we've got our last game of the season, whereas other teams in the league will be playing league fixtures during those times. So it's all a bit strange. It's all a bit weird. It's a bit...
Oh, it's a bit confusing.
Yeah, cack-handed is how I'd describe it. So...
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's but that was quite good. So that was my personal. So that was very good today. A good feeling from today getting that win. On a personal note, it's also a great day because I just bought a new puppy, which is amazing, which I was just talking to Josh about. So very happy with that. I guess it's a bit of football news. His name is Ruud. He's in Ruud van Nistelrooy. So there we go. Stick that in there. And other news, Man United won a game. We actually won a game. It's brilliant. At home for the first time this season.
Whoa, let's not spoil our Premier League roundup, Dave. That is, that's going to be the main part of it because you're not going to be able to stop chatting about it.
Wow, I know.
Papering over those cracks.
Yeah, I mean, it was... I'll save it for the roundup, but yeah, it's just on a personal note in my week in football, it was good to actually see us win and do it in a way that was so, nostalgic, to be honest.
It was, yeah.
So, yeah. But that's my week in football, mate. What about yours?
So, I watched a fair amount of football this week. Probably the biggest match I watched this week was the Spurs-Barca match and finally get to witness Messi against Spurs. I've always been intrigued because, obviously, I know Spurs the best out of any team that I watch. So it was really interesting to see how Spurs would cope with Messi, how Messi would cope with Spurs. Turns out he copes pretty well with Spurs.
yeah. Turns out he can destroy Spurs, to be honest, yeah.
Turns out, he's better than us. And he absolutely ran the show. It was somewhat enthralling and exciting to see. Watching through with my fingers over my face because I was like, oh my goodness, he's going to score again. Oh no, he's hit the post. Oh no, he's hit the post again. He's just a class above. He is the greatest of all time. He is the best. But it was an interesting match. We gave away 2 goals just from being really super stupid, but we could have conceded 2 more. So I think it was a fair result overall.
Okay,
but that was...
Just with those goals, was it any specific player that was stupid about them? Or is it... Because Lloris had a brain fart for
Hugo
one,
Lloris.
didn't he? Yeah.
Hugo Lloris for the first goal. I don't know what you're doing there because Alba plays the ball in the corner, the top corner of the box. The keeper should never be there.
No.
So that was his brain fart. And then a little bit of Lloris for the last goal. You kind of just pump it long, but for me, Sissoko is the worst offender in that last goal. He's meant to be taking the ball in, and he gets kind of out-muscled, thought by Jordi Alba, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I mean, he's the one player I'm still surprised is at Spurs. It's never going to work, is it? He's never going to be the player that Pochettino probably thought he would be. Surely just cut your losses and farm him off, especially with Lamella coming back as well.
Oh, I do love a bit of Lamella. And Sissoko's... I wonder what other players... I've never been in that, obviously, professional football environment where, obviously, the standard is very high. Do other players in training, when Sissoko does one... Because surely he's not a magnificent in training and shit on the pitch. He's just constant level of Sissoko. And surely players are looking around going, oh, God, he's skied over again. Oh, God, that touch.
But he must be. He makes the matchday squad, so he must be doing something right somewhere. I mean, that was always the argument about Fellaini, wasn't it? Now I think Fellaini has a job that he can do, but generally when he's got the ball at his feet, Fellaini's absolutely terrible. So in training, is the drill just right? We're going to use Fellaini in this drill. Just go and stand up front, and we'll just do set pieces, sort of thing. It's like these players must be doing, and especially Fellaini. He's been trusted by 4 different managers now to continually do the job. So in training, they must be doing something right. So Sissoko
one of life's mysteries, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Sissoko does look like a player that would be absolutely rubbish in training, and he's sort of just there to make up the numbers on match day.
Yeah.
But then he actually gets on the pitch.
He'd be sold the next opportunity.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah.
Not only does he get in the squad, he gets on the pitch as well. Yeah. That was. I mean, I could have taken 3-2, but 4-2, okay. But we're now up against it in the Champions League. But Champions League was quite good this week. Some good goals. But that was my Spurs highlight. And I saw moving on from that. This week I saw a stat of how Xavi is getting along. Obviously, we played Barcelona. They had their new Xavi Artur playing against us, who was very good. But Xavi's played 100 games for Al Sadd. Dave, have you seen how many assists he's got in those first 100 games?
I haven't, and I'm surprised to hear he's played already 100 games. It only feels like he moved like this summer, sort of thing. But okay, how many assists?
65 assists.
Oh my god, that's insane.
It seems like he's finding it quite easy there.
Yeah.
But so that's quite impressive. I've got a dream where in the Asia Cup next year, Al Sadd will find themselves against Vissel Kobe. So you'd see a Xavi versus Iniesta matchup. That'd be lovely. But I think by all accounts, Vissel Kobe are doing pretty poorly. So it seems unlikely at this moment in time. But that we can all dream of that, can't we?
Isn't that the team that also has Fernando Torres leading their line?
Oh is
There's your answer, Fishbowl.
Is that where he's at?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he moved with the same club as Iniesta, so I'm pretty sure he did, yeah. But, if you've got someone who peaked when they were, 24, and have only gone downhill ever since, then you're going to struggle for goals.
Sorry, Dave, he plays for Sagan Tosu. Sagan Tosu. Sorry, Dave, I had to call you out on your knowledge there. And he has there's 2 other non-Asian players who play for them, and one of them is former Watford legend Victor Abavo. Everybody knows him.
Yeah.
Big fan of Victor Abavo.
Big fan.
The Colombian winger. Yeah. And then the other one is a Lebanese international called Joan Umari, who we have not seen play in England, so I'm not sure many people know he is. But that's how it's going over in Asia.
Yeah, excellent.
What else have I got?
That's weird, isn't it? You're giving the Asia updates.
Yeah, someone's got to fill the Asia news void. You've got to offer me nothing Asia-wise.
Yeah, the English representative of this duo is filling the Asia news. So there you go.
Yeah, you can tackle the England squad bit we've got later on.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll deal with that. That's all right.
Yeah. Some other tidbits. I was looking at the Scottish League earlier this week, and I was surprised to see Celtic were languishing so far. They were kind of 6 points adrift earlier in the week, and still got a game to play. I think they play on Sunday, but I think it seems that Celtic were 5th and Rangers were 7th at the time I looked at this, and it's maybe it's a point of motivation now, Celtic. Well, obviously, every time I normally check a Scottish League, it's like, Celtic top by an absurd amount of points. But I think it's when you win, have they done the double treble now?
Yes, yeah.
You got to question and they've still got the same manager, how do you continue to motivate the players? And also, surely teams, unless you change things up a lot, teams get used to how you play, don't they?
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting to see it. So I've just flicked up the league table, as you were saying, and they're 6 points behind Hearts, who are top. But both of them have played the same amount of games, because generally sometimes these can be skewed, can't they? Because Celtic would have been in Europe and things like that. But no, they've and
also Scottish weather often makes for a disjointed amount of fixtures, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean you wouldn't even think so. They've got a game on hand on the people that are 3rd and 4th, but if they win their game in hand, they would go 3rd if they got a 3-0 win. So again, it's not. Yeah, it's not really closing the gap or anything. It's interesting. It's good. It's a good point, Josh. Because Celtic normally just Celtic are top. So Celtic are top. Yeah. That's just what you think, isn't it? It's yeah, it's interesting to see. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll have to keep an eye on it for our Scottish brethren, and maybe put an update into the pod about that. You can do Asia and Scotland. How about that?
Yeah, all the big leagues.
yeah. Ticking all the boxes for the podcast. All the football fans out there.
Yeah, a major league fan. Just all the big heady heights of Asia and Scotland.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that caught your eye?
Other bits have caught. Oh yeah, more caught my eye this week. Well, we had the England squad announcement. Just wanted to have a quick. You know, we did a poll last week. Will Jadon Sancho get into the England squad? You said this year. You said yes. I said no.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was a spoiler alert. He did get in.
There's
also a little one I want to go for this week is who will score first, Alvaro Morata or Christian Benteke? Which one are you going for?
Morata. It's got to be. He's got better players around him.
Okay, I'm going for Benteke then. So who will win that bet?
Don't let me down. I mean, to be honest, it's not more like it's not Morata. Don't let me down. It's Benteke. Don't surprise me. That's more the instinct of it. Like but you said you couldn't see him ever scoring a goal ever again, like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I didn't comment on Morata. I don't think I can see him scoring a goal ever again either.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Didn't last season?
He has got a goal this season, Morata.
He has. Yeah, he has. And I was thinking last season, wasn't Benteke's like poor run of goal scoring form started last season, and they gave him a penalty, and he still missed it. I'm pretty sure that happened. I'm pretty sure I haven't just thought. It
wasn't so much of giving a penalty. He stole the ball away from Milivojevic.
Milivojevic, yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and missed. So great work, Christian. But good luck, Christian.
Okay, so it's 1-0 to me in the betting stakes because Sancho's made the England squad.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, which we'll go on to. So he's probably the England squad was announced this week for our upcoming games with Andorra and Croatia. Obviously, it's very much set to change because after the weekend of Premier League fixtures, and not just Premier League fixtures, weekend of Bundesliga and Championship fixtures, to give you an idea of how exciting this squad is, there'll be a number of players who pull out because of a small niggle and a lack of caring of international football.
Yeah, a slight back problem.
Saying that, we've got a 25-man squad, and probably the three standout names. We've got three teenagers in. The two standout names will be Mason Mount and Jadon Sancho in there, I'd say. And then, if you pick another name, probably Marcus Bettinelli. Fulham is a fourth choice goalkeeper. Overall,
I've got a question for you. It's more of a general insight into what you think about international squads. Why are there four goalkeepers? I can never remember being four goalkeepers.
No, this is a 25-man squad, and normally it's a 23-man squad.
Yeah, but
I think this is basically using the available options to have a look at different players and get an experience of a squad, see how they cope mentally, are they kind of a bit shy and retiring in training, are they up for it, get the coaches to have a better look for them, because obviously you might only see him when Southgate goes and watches a game, maybe he goes and watch a few training sessions, but he wants to get a closer look at players and get them into it. So I think I don't have any problem with calling them up. It's just, I suppose it's funny you call it a squad, because I mean it is a squad, but say Pickford was to get injured and Butland was to get injured, I really struggle to see that Bettinelli would actually start a game, or I don't know. It seems like there's someone else you'd call up before even playing Bettinelli.
Yeah, I know. Like you think, like if Butland and Pickford got injured, then probably he would revert to type and go for Joe Hart, and he would start.
Joe Hart,
But I'm interested by Marcus Bettinelli because I always assumed he was Italian. Or Argentinian with a dual nationality of Italian. I just assumed it all the time. Didn't know he was English. There you go. Every day's a school day. So okay, very quickly then. What's your starting 11? If everybody in that squad is here, and it's what's the first game? Is it Andorra first?
I think it's Andorra first. Yeah. If Andorra first, I'm going different. I'm mixing it up.
Yeah.
I'm going Bettinelli. No, I'm not going Bettinelli.
Joe Hart. Joe Hart in goal.
Yeah. Joe Hart, Gary Cahill. I'd go. Glenn Johnson. No, I would go Jack Butland. I would go
really?
Carl Walker deserves to play it. Right? Yeah.
Championship
I'm
goalkeeper.
Mixing it up. This isn't my.
Yeah. Surely you'd pick Alex McCarthy though. Give him a cap. Playing well. I say playing well. He's not really playing that well, but
no, we'll get on to Southampton.
Yeah, true. Okay. Jack Butland. Yeah.
Jack Butland, Kyle Walker playing at right back because I think he felt a bit aggrieved at the World Cup not playing his favourite position. I'd then play Joe Gomez and Harry Maguire. See how that goes, because John Stones is the leader. You want to see how other players do amongst it without playing. I'm playing 4-4-2, by the way.
Yeah.
Just keeping it simple. And I'd play Danny Rose at left back. Danny Rose has been a bit in and out of the side this season for Spurs, but I think he's got something to give. I think I'd play him, but yeah, Luke Shaw is on the up as well. Midfield, I would play James Maddison, Harry Winks. Ooh, I've shafted myself with a 4-4-2 here.
yeah, because I was looking at this squad thinking I would definitely play a 4-4-2 diamond, not a 4-4-2 flat. That's what I think I'll do.
Yeah. I don't want to play Henson or Dyer. I don't like Dyer anymore. He's well down in my.
He's dead to you.
Well, yeah, almost. He'd be like soon out the door after Sissoko for me. Yeah, Winks and Madison deserve to start. I think Jadon Sancho deserves to start on a wing, and Raheem Sterling on a wing. With
okay, so who's your two up front? Surely it's Kane. You can't start Welbeck. You cannot start
Kane and Welbeck. Kane and Welbeck. Yeah.
Jesus. Bloody hell. Okay.
I want that experience up front. I mean, they've got 19 and 16 goals between them. I need that up front. I need that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I think very quickly off the top of my head, that line up there, I'd put Jordan Pickford in goal because I don't trust any of the other three. Even if it's Andorra, I still don't trust it. Kyle Walker, I'd put him back at right back like you. I would probably go Tarkowski and Maguire at the back because I want to see a bit more what Tarkowski can do. And I'd put Danny Rose probably at left back because I think it's still Danny Rose's position to win back in the England squad. I think Luke Shaw will be the nod to get the start now. Who else is there? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm
cool.
Intrigued. Yeah.
Intrigued. Okay. I thought you had gone. I'll edit that out. In the midfield, I'd probably play. This is a really weird balanced squad, isn't it? Maddison, I think, does deserve a start. Harry Winks, I haven't seen enough of him this season. I thought he had a big injury. So has he been playing quite a lot?
So he's come back from injury. He played against Barcelona and he really grew into the match. He had a really good second half actually. He's like, I don't know, he's a bit more technically gifted, Scott Parker, but I enjoy watching him play. He drives forward, got a turn of pace, finds some progressive passing, good passing from back. So I would definitely play him in there.
Okay, I'll go for a 4-3-3 then. So I'll play Winks on Josh Call's scouting profile. Maddison, I think he's done very well, and I'd probably start Chalobah because I think he's done pretty well for Watford, and he's always been a player that I've been intrigued to see. And then I'd start Harry Kane through the middle. I'd start Jadon Sancho on one wing and Rashford on the other because again, Raheem Sterling's got a place nailed down. He doesn't need to really play, and I would tell Danny Welbeck to probably go home and just have no backup striker apart from Raheem Sterling. Or just drop Danny Welbeck and call up Joe Hart just for giggles. So
I don't know if you've got this in front of you. Hopefully you haven't, because this is a intriguing question which has blown my mind a little bit. Like Harry Kane and Marcus Rashford, okay?
Yeah.
Who do you think how many caps do you think Harry Kane's got? How many Marcus Rashford's got?
Do you know what? I don't have this in front of me, but I read it about a week ago because it was comparing how Marcus Rashford compares to Harry Kane and Cristiano Ronaldo. And I can't remember for the life of me. I think Rashford has something like 30 caps, 33 caps or something, and Harry Kane has 50.
No, I'll stop you there.
Okay.
Harry Kane has 32 caps.
Oh wow!
And Marcus Rashford has 27 caps.
Oh wow! Okay.
That is so much closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that is really close. Actually.
I mean, obviously you don't go have starts and substitute appearances, but yeah, that's a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Very interesting, actually. And just to top it all off, Danny Welbeck has 42. So
he does, yeah.
Probably about.
He's always performed quite well. He's performed well for England. It's just he just hasn't made the right career choices for club, I don't think, and so it detracts from the fact that he plays all right for England.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, he does. He's weirdly consistently scored goals for England, hasn't he? That's the thing. He's consistently scored goals for England. And I think he's made good career choices because Man United, leaving Man United and joining Arsenal was, I think at the time, quite a good move for him. He just then he moved at maybe not the wrong time because he was obviously kicked out of the club by Van Gaal pretty much. But it was sort of like he moved and then Arsenal immediately bought players that were better than him in that position. And it's sort of like, why did Arsene Wenger then want him in the first place, sort of thing. But I think he's been a bit of unlucky. I really actually like Welbeck when he was at Man United, and we were sort of moulding him into more of like a second striker or more of like a winger, an inside forward sort of position. I liked him. It's just then when he played up front, you actually saw his deficiencies as a footballer. When he was running onto the ball, he was better. When he was the guy that you had to rely on to get goals, that was never going to happen. Which
is why I feel that Marcus Rashford is cut from the same cloth.
I can see it. I can see the equivalence in the two. I just really hope it's not.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want it to be there.
He looks like he's got more raw talent. Rashford. It's just you don't. It's a mix, isn't it? You don't want it to be stifled by not playing him, but you don't want to overplay him. Similar to the sort of like Rooney's and that, where his career and Michael Owen is a great example that you used earlier on in the podcast series, where he just has too much game time too early and it sort of ruins his career. But it's a tough decision to make for managers and stuff.
Yeah. So. My final comment on the squad will be that I think it will make a lot of young players think even more positively about going to the Bundesliga now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the risk is you go there and you don't get noticed. Obviously, Jadon Sancho is probably one of our brightest talents we've got, but he's playing abroad and he's got into the squad. So I think if that is recurring and maybe another player playing abroad gets in, other players will see it as a real kind of real bonus if they can go abroad and still get in the squad and get noticed. So
I agree.
I think it will be. And I mean, a penny for Phil Foden's thoughts, obviously, because him and Sancho obviously were teammates at City, both similar ages. Foden's getting a little bit of game time and League Cup and things like that, but isn't in the squad. And Sancho playing not many minutes, but making an impact in the Bundesliga is in. So I think it's obviously a very narrow window we're looking at, and Foden, I mean, he's still an absolute beast of a talent, but. Yeah, I think he's probably a little bit gutted now that Sancho's in, he isn't.
Yeah, potentially. I still think Foden will be incredible. I mean, it's sort of like when David Silva retires or leaves Man City, you just expect Phil Foden to equally as good just sort of step into that role. I think that's what's expected of him. Whether he can actually eventually end up doing that. But yeah, you're right. A penny through his thoughts would be quite interesting for all of that. Do you know who the last... This is a general question because I don't have the stat to hand. Who was the last foreign-based English player to be called up? I assume it was Beckham, but I don't
Foreign-based English player to get in the England squad.
Because Hargreaves got one cap while he was at
maybe Joe Hart when he was on loan at Torino.
Ah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd just blank that from my memory because he was horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Joe Hart did as well because it wasn't exactly successful.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, that's cool. Yeah, good. Okay. So what's next on the agenda as you're hosting?
On the agenda, I'm going to, just before we start our Premier League roundup, I'm going to do a little quiz. So instead of a fact this week, I will offer the quiz question, but then at the end I'll give the quiz answer. So, here it is. Josh King scored yesterday for Bournemouth. I think he got a couple. He is now the 5th highest Norwegian goal scorer in Premier League history.
Yeah.
So I would like to know. So you get your thinking boots on. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And let me know who the other 4 Norwegian goal scorers are.
Can I have
above him in the?
Can I have an answer now?
Well, you want to go all 4 now?
No. Just one that's obviously Solskjaer has come to my head.
Yes.
So he's got to be in there.
Correct.
John Carew.
Yes.
I think Morten Gams Pedersen was Danish, not Norwegian. I know this.
No, he was Norwegian.
He was Norwegian. Is he in there?
Yeah. No, he's not.
No. Cheers, thank you. Torre Andre Flo for Chelsea.
Yeah.
So have I got one left or 2 left?
You got 1 left. We'll leave it there, and you have a think about it. Just shout out when it comes, but everybody else get your thinking boots on.
Okay, yeah, leave it till the end. Leave it till the end, and I'll have a go.
Okay. All right. So on
Yeah.
to the Premier League roundup. This is from Saturday's game, Saturday the 6th of October. We had 6 games. It was red card day in the Premier League, and
It certainly was.
it was quite an enjoyable day. So we'll start in alphabetical order. We'll go with Burnley versus Huddersfield, the big matchup, what everybody's waiting for.
Everyone was keen.
And that's the end of that roundup.
yeah. There was a goal apiece, and everyone went home happy. So
yeah, 2 headers, both in the far post. Textbook lower league football from 2 sides punching above their weight.
I think it's the one thing I will say is that it did show. I mean, Huddersfield have been pretty down and out this season. They've been really struggling, as have Burnley, to be honest. But Burnley have sort of turned it around a little bit. You know, that win took them up to 12th. But Huddersfield actually, to come back from a goal down away from home, I think actually is very good for them, and hopefully it will see them turn it around a little bit. Because I think it's very good for them to do that. It's a shame that it was a centre-back that scored and not one of their strikers, because I'm sure David Wagner would have preferred a striker to score. But, well, he probably doesn't care. But he wanted his strikers to start scoring, is what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And I think I agree. Huddersfield, although I think they're somewhat of a dead cert to go down. That does it a little bit positive for him. A little bit of shout out for Goodmanson for Burnley. He's in great form so far this season. I think he's something like 7 games, 1 goal, 4 assists. So he's doing quite well. I quite like him. Quite a tidy player, and a little bit out of character for Burnley to have him. He's been.
Yeah.
I mean, we spoke earlier in the pod about how it's very much good old British players, and you've got an Icelandic winger there, so it's a unique situation. But he's doing quite well for them.
Cool. Okay, so next up alphabetically, Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace are home to Wolves.
Yeah, hosting Wolves.
Yeah, hosted Wolves, and Palace have been awful at home this season. I don't think they've scored a goal at home yet this season, and continued again yesterday. They've now got 1 win in 7 games, Palace that is, but Wolves have now had their best start to a top flight season for about 30-40 years. Wolves are going great guns, aren't they?
4 points off top, Wolves are. They're sitting 7th, but they're 4 points off top, and I think the thing with Wolves is they appear to be having goal scorers come from like everywhere around the pitch. I mean, what was it? The right back Doherty, I think, scored.
Right wing back,
Yeah, right wing back scored this week, and it was the Premier League record, I think it was, not a Wolves record. I think it's a Premier League record for unchanged starting 11 for their first,
which is a red flag for me.
Yeah, because tiredness and things like that. But
that will only go on for so long. So they've had the unchanged for the first 8 games, which is a Premier League record, and you often see Premier sides do that because they get settled. They more often have smaller squads, so they get settled into it, and that will go on for a little while, but you cannot last the whole season without injuries or suspension, especially after the red card we saw yesterday. They've been very lucky not to have any so far, and so I'm not saying that players to come in aren't as good. So we have not had Dendonker's not played yet, and obviously Traore is still trying to get in, but it just ruins that balance of the side. And I think especially come Christmas time, when you can play something like a game like 2-3 days after each other, so like 10 games across that winter period, they're going to come unstuck then. But hey, points on the board now. Points on the board.
That's the thing. I was going to say that because I agree with what you've just said. But if you think about if Wolves beat every single team that they're expected to beat before Christmas, then that's them. That's them safe. That's them mid-table. It's very
it's just about the expectations, isn't it? It's like you're going to get 90%. You might get 90% of your points in the first half of the season, the second half. So you might be in, say, 6th position come the halfway mark, but you're not going to be in 6th position come the end. Still be happy when you drop to 14th or something, because it's still been a good season.
Very true. Big shout out to Rio Patricio's amazing double save from the Crystal Palace new signing Max Meyer, who hit a volley, saved that, and then blocked Wilfried Zaha's follow up as well. So that was unbelievable. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It was a great double save.
Yeah, I prefer him on the left wing, number 11, Rio Patricio. But stick him in.
Yeah. Okay.
Next we have Leicester versus Everton. So Leicester at home, they lost 2-1 to Everton. Some decent goals in this game. I mean, Bernard, they got signed one. I think they signed one a free this year. Everton. He looks a decent player. He's got something about him, but I think he just lacks that overall consistency. They took the lead there with Richarlison getting a goal, so he'd obviously started quite well, didn't he? obviously got sent off, went off the boil a bit. But no, a good goal for him. Nice finish.
I thought that with Richarlison, when he got that sending off, I thought, right, that's him done, isn't it? That's him done for the season now. He's got his goals. He's got a send off. He'll just be plodding along. But yeah, it was a good finish. It was tidy. He seems to be really working for Marco Silva, which is good to see. Like he's really. I'm not saying he didn't put in the effort at Watford when he was there, but I don't know. Marco Silva just seems to have a good relationship with him, and you can see him really trying. Well, I think you can see him really trying to work hard for the manager, which is good to see.
Yeah. So then Leicester fought back with their right back, finding himself on the left wing. A lovely counter-attacking goal. Ricardo Pereira signed this summer.
Yep.
Lovely finish. Turned. I can't remember what the defender was. Turned him right inside out and finished well. And we saw. And this is our first red card of the in our matches today. So we had Wes Morgan getting sent off. Wes Morgan is now. His last 3 Premier League games, so well done, Wes Morgan.
Wow, incredible! That's an unwanted record. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but today the winning goal, Sigurdsson's goal, is my goal of the weekend so far. That is an absolute blue of a goal. Go and check it out. It's all so that turn. The turn he does, a little Cruyff turn inside the player. It's almost like you've got to score from here because that turn's so good, and it's almost like he's stretching a little bit for it. It seems to come off more of his toe, but it loops up and over the keeper. Keeper finds himself maybe 1 yard too far out, and it loops over him. But yeah, absolute cracker of a goal.
Yeah, and his 50th in the Premier League. Gylfi Sigurdsson.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And so I think only Philip Coutinho has scored more goals from outside the box, something like that, than
in the same time period.
Same time period.
Yeah, very nice. And the last final thing I like is that Everton scored their goal on the 7th and the 77th minute. I really like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, rounds it off.
Yeah. Next game we have. I watched this in full, and I wish I hadn't. It was bleak football. So I watched Tottenham versus Cardiff. Tottenham got a 1-0 win with an early goal from Eric Dyer, but I mean the pitch is a little bit poor at Wembley after the Anthony Joshua fight, as we saw during the week, and I mean Cardiff are never going to come and play. It was Cardiff. I mean, Cardiff are really effective at what they do. It's just a shame what they do is lower league standard football. It's just getting it long, flicking it on, pumping it up there. I
just want to interrupt you, Josh. Right. They're not very effective at what they do because they've got 2 points from 8 games and they sit bottom of the table with a goal difference of -13. They're not very effective at what they do.
Yeah, they're not effective at playing top flight football. They're good at playing championship standard football, but they're still trying to play that in the Premier League. Yeah. And they did cause Spurs some problems. They had a few decent chances, mainly from set pieces. The standout moment of the match was the red card.
Right. Now,
it was just shocking.
I'm going to let you describe this to me because I haven't actually seen this one yet. I've caught up on nearly all the games apart from this one because I knew that you would have watched it, so I knew you could have talked in depth. But I just wanted to hang on, just before you get into it, I'm just going to read you a message that I got about that tackle from someone who's in a fantasy football group that I'm in. And he literally said one sentence, well, that tackle from Rules was out of 1970. Was it that bad? Was it a tackle that was like...
See, it was needless. All right, so I'll describe it. So, Rules at left back, and he's faced up by Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura knocks it round him. So then he's got ahead of him. He's running through just into open space. Really, Rules goes straight across him, but doesn't his stud's nowhere near it because it's kind of leg to leg. But he just catches him so high up and leaves him sprawling. Harry Kane runs. And what are you doing? But the thing is, he didn't need to do that. He obviously wanted to stop him with a professional foul. Yeah. But he could have just tugged his shirt. Could have just clipped his ankles. But he just went diving in, like just flailing everywhere, up high on Lucas Moura. It was completely unnecessary, and it led to Neil Warnock calling Harry Kane a twat. So it's
good old Colin
lovely
Wanker.
Neil Warnock. Yeah.
I mean, did it look like it was a tackle out of like a frustration, or was it just an idiotic moment?
It looked like it was a tackle out of lack of talent. It looked like he
right.
wasn't. He didn't have the awareness to know that he could to pull the shirt. He looked. He was a little bit embarrassed that he'd just been absolutely roasted, and he was just. It didn't have the wherewithal to kind of go. I'm just gonna just be somewhat subtle about this. Like it seemed like it was super simple. Like I'm just gonna dive in. It was Sunday League stuff. It was. It was just. And Neil Warnock's gone. It's never a red. It's like.
Yeah.
Sometimes they aren't reds, but they really should be reds every single day of the week.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So, what's your final thoughts on Mr. Harry Kane? Because he's shooting. He's shooting again.
He's shooting. He's getting back. He is definitely getting back to where he should be. I mean, he's had a good start to the season. Really, he's got 5 goals, 8 games. I think he's second top scorer after Eden Hazard. He's getting back to where he should be, and he had a good game again midweek. Scored a goal against Barcelona. Looked dangerous, so yeah, I'm getting happier by the day. And it's a strange situation with Spurs. This is our second best start to a campaign, only bettered by 2 seasons ago on goal difference. And if we beat West Ham in our next match, it will be our best start to a Premier League campaign ever.
Oh wow, that's gone under the
Doesn't
radar.
feel that.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel that way, does it?
No, it really doesn't. That's incredible.
And I think the only game you look back where if we'd got a draw or a win, it would have been so. Watford game, because losing to Liverpool, no shame. Losing to Barcelona, no shame. Even losing to Inter Milan, I suppose the way it happened, losing to Inter Milan, kind of compounded things. The fact that it was in part of that run, but Watford's the only real one. There you go. Oh, that's a bit of a kind of misnomer, that one. But yeah, it's a. I think we've had a decent run of fixtures. Like we've had Huddersfield and Cardiff the last 2 matches. Gets a little bit more tough. Obviously, West Ham away, and I think City are in that run in, and a few more difficult ties. But yeah, it's been. We haven't played well. It's not been good from Tottenham, but yeah, getting points on the board. Yeah,
excellent.
All right, I've realised I'm going alphabetical order for the 3 o'clock kickoffs because we obviously haven't gone to Manchester United yet. We're going to Watford now. Watford versus Bournemouth. Yes. The unpredictable Bournemouth. A couple of weeks ago, lose 4-0 to Burnley. Now they find themselves winning 4-0 against Watford. What's going on?
This was the accumulator killer, I'd say. I cannot imagine anybody predicted this result, or let alone a Bournemouth win. It's just crazy, isn't it? Like you say, it's such a seesaw team at the moment, and where are they in the table? 5th in the moment. You know, 2 points behind Spurs, 3 points behind the top. It's well, I don't know. Being the pessimist, I'll always say it can't stick. It can't continue. But they've got no other real distractions. They're playing well. They look like a unit. Eddie Howe's got them working well. I mean, that's another red card for a team in here as well, which sort of changed the game.
Cabasele, yeah.
It sort of changed the game because it was only 1-0 Bournemouth at the time, and Cabasele's 2 yellow cards, sort of.
Yeah, and I think it was something like 35 minutes in, Cabasele had seen 2 yellow cards and got sent off, and Cathcart, the other centre back, had already got a yellow. It's like, guys, settle down, stop making fouls. That is absurd to leave yourself. You're just leaving yourself open to failing and creating game-changing errors like for the penalty.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, what do you think about Bournemouth? Do you think they'll keep it up, or is it just going to be a mid-table?
No, it's mid-table again for me. It's really difficult to keep it up for the whole season because it does get so hard and frantic over Christmas. You need that big squad, and Bournemouth for the rest a little bit. They've got some, but they haven't really got the depth. So I see them kind of petering out a little bit. But it's like Wolves. Good while it's lasting. Question back to you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Eddie Howe?
I think he's obviously quite clearly a very talented manager. I worry for all these people that are like, when's it going to be a chance that he gets a big job? I'm worried that he's sort of in a comfort zone at the moment, and when he leaves it, it's sort of like Moyes with Everton sort of thing. He's doing a very good job at the moment, and I don't want that to be ruined by him failing at a bigger club, if that makes sense. Because I always liked what David Moyes did. I always liked what David Moyes did at Everton. I thought he got them playing pretty well. He got them solid. He knew what Everton were about, and Everton knew what they're about under David Moyes. And then I didn't want him as Man United manager, but you trust in Fergie because Fergie picked him. But it just didn't fit. It seemed too big, and I worry that Eddie Howe would be similar. You know, there was calls for him to get a go at the Arsenal job, wasn't there, when Arsene Wenger was leaving?
Yeah.
And I just thought it could be a complete disaster. It could be a complete like career ruiner for someone like Eddie Howe. But then you also want him to take the next step, so it's a hard thing to do. I would like him to do it in sort of small stages if possible. Go from like a Bournemouth to an Everton or something like that, and then go from an Everton to
bigger stadium, bigger transfer budget, bigger name players.
And it's the problem with those sort of things. I'm thinking that sort of stepping stones exist now. Is that generally the middle of the table is so compact. You get the runaway top 4 or runaway top 5, possibly top 6, and then everyone down from 7th to possibly relegation is so close that what do you consider a step up anymore? It's very
absolutely
strange. I think he'd be maybe a good chance for the England job, but again, would he want to do that? I don't know. He seems like a guy who likes to be on the training. Likes to be on the training pitch every day. So I don't know. It's tough. I think he's a very good manager, but I don't. I think
big sides would like to see how he could manage a team which was in Europe at the same time.
Okay, that would be interesting. Yeah,
but then that's obviously reflects the size of the squad he has and the transfer budget is available, because obviously bigger squad requires more matches requires a bigger squad, and if you haven't got that, but we saw Burnley earlier this year. It's hard if you don't have that squad available.
Yeah, very true. So
okay.
But yeah.
All right. So one last game to discuss. And the funny thing is, this game, Man United Newcastle, I started doing my prep last night, and I took a snip of the fixtures and the current result, and I took this snip when it was 2-0 in Newcastle. And I presume that's how it ended. Is that what happened? Newcastle just breezed to a 2-0 win.
Yeah. It was. I mean, staying like that for an hour is quite impressive for Newcastle, I'd say. Obviously, they went 2-0 up inside 10 minutes with Kennedy and Muto. I don't know how it's Muto, I think is how you pronounce it. And then it stayed from 10 minutes to 70 minutes at 2-0 Newcastle, with Juan Mata scoring a good, not the best goal I've ever seen him score, but it was nice.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, he's very good. That's his range. That's peak Mata, isn't it? He's probably one of the highest scoring players from free kicks, I think. Since he's joined the league, I don't think anyone scored as many free kicks as Mata.
Yeah. He would never be the first name on the team sheet, but if you needed sort of a creative spark, he would always be someone you'd turn to. And like you say, from free kicks, he's always shown he's got the ability from free kicks, and it was a very good finish. And then 6 minutes later, Newcastle just basically capitulated after that, and it was proper. Like Josh and I were talking just before this podcast, and I described it as nostalgic, didn't I? In the way that Man United came back to win it.
Vintage, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was like, and Martial scoring that goal. It was what a lot of Man United fans have expected him to do. Sort of cut in off the wing, play a quick little 1-2, get the ball out of his feet, and then just leather it. And I will admit, it looked like it was pretty poor goalkeeping, because the goalkeeper Dubravka looked like he had that post covered, but it still got in past him. But from a snapshot from there, I don't think the goalkeeper's ever expecting it to go down that corner or into that corner. So, you can sort of blame him off. A lovely finish, really good. He celebrated like he really, really wanted it, and he was really keen to show the fans that he wanted to play, which was good to see. And then finally, Alexis Sanchez, there's something useful in a Man United shirt. 90th minute, ball into the box, and who heads it in? Probably the smallest player on the pitch. It's one of those things, if this was FIFA or Pro Evo, you'd be like, that would never happen. Why is the smallest player on the pitch going to head that as if that would happen? But, I mean, Newcastle's marking was woeful. Absolutely horrendous. It was like, wow. Was it a header? Yeah, it was a header, wasn't it, Sanchez? I'm not making that up. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was just a good thing. I mean, the cross was aimed at Fellaini, quite obviously, who obviously heard Sanchez call and then stuck his header in the net, and it was good, but I think, like you said it earlier, Josh, it's a plaster, isn't it? It's a plaster over a massive gash that you've got. Sorry for that image, but yeah, it's papering over cracks and things like that. You need something to happen after this. Why haven't we been attacking like that? That last, or the second half, apparently Mourinho said, go out there and play without pressure. But why are they not attacking like that every game when we're playing the likes of, Bournemouth and Wolves and West Ham and teams like that. Why are we not? I don't care if we concede goals. We've got players in this team that can go out and just score more than the other team if we want to. Why don't they have that freedom and that ability to play that pressure every week?
That's what happens when you're up against it. It's almost like you need to concede a goal before you actually go, all right, let's go at this. But I just want to say the next 6 fixtures for United.
Yeah.
So after the international break, you're away at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Then you're home to Juventus, home to Everton, away at Bournemouth, away at Juventus, and away at Man City.
Yeah. I know. It's
been a tough week for Mourinho. I was going to speak to him on Friday night when news broke of people, the newspapers were saying that Mourinho's going to get sacked this weekend no matter the result. I think if I was in charge, I'd probably just postpone that so it didn't look like the newspapers were right. But I really can't see, unless something amazing happens over the next 6 games, I just think delaying the inevitable, really.
Yeah, I mean, you predicted, it might have been last week or 2 weeks ago, you predicted end of October. I think it was last week you said it, that he wouldn't be in the job at the end of October. I think, I mean, it's what I said the other week. It's the way the table looks now, it doesn't look too bad because we're 3 points behind 5th, 4 points behind 7th, 5 points behind 3rd, which isn't, it's not insurmountable. So if Mourinho goes on a good run, suddenly the table will start looking a lot better. But it's it's sort of just like is this the change from the norm? And next week when we play the likes of Chelsea, Juventus, and the teams you just listed, is it going to go back to right? Well, the first thing is let's defend. Let's a point is great, a point is good. It's like okay, well.
Well, yeah. After those 6 games, you could be facing the fact that I think your title challenge is gone. But I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It was even started. You could lose both matches against Juventus and face being dumped out of the Champions League, and it could be awful. You could end it with losing to your local rivals. So it's a really tough next 6 games for United, and I don't really hold out much hope for how it's going to go.
Just while we're talking about United and Mourinho, I can't stand it when he says things in press conferences. Did you hear the stat he brought out about Champions League? He was like, we're the highest point scorers from England in the Champions League so far this season. Well done. You beat Young Boys. You beat Young Boys Bern and drew with Valencia. Liverpool beat PSG and lost to Napoli. They're playing teams that are at the peak of their leagues. We're playing some bloody lawyers,
Europa League side,
from Young Boys Bern, and we're playing Valencia, who have not won a game in 7 games before coming to Old Trafford, who then got a point. It's like, Mourinho, just shut up and pick. I know,
battles,
and
it was just, and the way he said it was like a manhunt and stuff. He just seemed to, it wasn't great from Mourinho's press conference, but
no,
I'm sure there'll be more to come over next month or so. So that covers the matches that have gone so far. There's probably just the one big game that we're going to talk about for remaining this weekend. Liverpool Man City. It's absolute of games last year we saw, was it 5-0 and a 4-3 last year in the league, and so hopefully more games, more goals today, and this could I think Liverpool could set a new record for City here. I mean, bear in mind I got my facts wrong the other week, but I think if Man City lose this match, it'll be the first time they've lost to a team 4 times in a calendar year.
Yeah,
because obviously they had the Champions League tie.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've predicted that's going to happen in my predictor league.
You think Liverpool are going to win?
I've predicted a 3-2 Liverpool win. Yeah, I've predicted goals again because neither team can seem to defend against each other. So I've predicted a 3-2 Liverpool win. I think it's in Man City's head. It'll be in their head. They'll be scared about Salah, Mane, Firmino, and that's those sorts of players. And I think it will really, really get in there. If I was to be bold, I'd say Shaqiri to come on at 2-2 and score the winner.
Well, you've just been bold there. I'm going for a straw, goal 2-2.
A straw? Because I wasn't straw.
Yeah, straw boater. I just wasn't impressed at all with Liverpool during the week, and I think that Mane and Salah both look like they could do with a little bit of a rest. And I think that if it's not going right for them, that they may, if they don't get some early goals, it may come back to haunt them. But it's going to be a good match, hopefully. Should be exciting.
Yeah.
So goals are plenty, and a draw will be best because I mean, they're both doing well in the league, and narrow that gap. You don't want anyone to run away with it. You want it to be nice and narrow. So they're both on 19 points. Let's get them both on 20, so that Spurs are just 2 points behind the leaders. Amazingly.
That would be absolutely incredible. I mean, this is a problem with living in Singapore when a love of football and love of the Premiership, because why couldn't this game be on at 12 o'clock on Sunday? Lunchtime kickoff, get everyone watching it over a roast dinner, and allow the Asian fans to watch it. The fans based in
now
Asia.
you're singing for Asia, are you?
So, yeah. So, cool. Yeah, that's good. What do you think? So you think Man City will win it? You think, or do you think?
I think it's going to be I think Liverpool will. I think it'll be a draw, but I think Man City will be the better side.
Okay, interesting. And just while we're talking about fixtures on a Sunday, Rangers are playing Hearts. So Rangers are taking on top of Scottish League Hearts, and St Johnstone are away at Celtic. So hopefully Celtic will. So yes, that covers the Celtic fixtures as well. We've gone through all the Premiership stuff. So you know what time it is now, Josh? Who needs the wiki files?
Sing it, Dave.
I need the wiki files. I've got a wiki file for you. Bang.
Beautiful.
Now I'm thinking eventually I actually need to put a little tune behind it, see if I can download the tune of the Quickie Mart
please
song
do.
and go for it. Right, the images are coming your way, Josh, and I've sent you a little bit of a teaser, haven't I, during the week of this?
You did.
Yeah, to say I think it's a sort of one where Josh being Josh could get this very, very quickly, but I think it's quite tough. I think I've picked him quite a tough man. And he just about makes the carnival. He has made...
Oh, Mara Zarate?
Oh, you little git. How did you get that so quickly? Have you looked at his profile recently or something? That is ridiculous.
No.
I mean, that is ridiculous. That is...
Sorry,
I mean,
I've
sung the intro. We didn't even get onto his stats. He doesn't score that many goals for a striker. He's played for Lazio, Inter Milan, and QPR, and Fiorentina, and Boca Juniors. It's such an eclectic career. I was like, this will be a brilliant one. I hate you.
Right, so we'll run through it quickly. So I'll go through my thought process. So I saw Vélez Sarsfield. I was like, right, Argentinian. I made 100 appearances, 28 goals. Okay. Right, then, do you know what springs into mind? I remember, in Football Manager, a player... remember going to watch a Birmingham City versus Tottenham match, and Zarate created 2 goals, maybe scored an assist, and I was like, you bastard, I remember you from Football Manager, you're good. And then he's just been back and forth. He's been to Italy, he's been back to Argentina, comes back to England for West Ham, and I remember who hosted the podcast recently, Owen, was excited to see him, but then really wasn't when he played. He's had a nomadic career. He's just gone where the money's gone, really, isn't he? He can't get Vélez out of his head. He's had 3 stints there. He's had lots of stints in Italy. He's had a couple of stints abroad, but yeah. It's just.
I love the career. I love it. It's like if you were doing like FIFA or Pro Evo, like be a pro sort of thing, where you control one person, and you're like, the rule that you've given yourself is you have to accept any offer that's made for your player. It's like, let's start in Argentina to see where we end up. Birmingham, Lazio, Inter Milan, Vélez Sarsfield, West Ham, QPR, Fiorentina. That's the odd one that I love. That he goes from on loan at QPR to Fiorentina, Watford. It's just weird. And now he's playing up front alongside Tevez. So,
is he? Do you remember much of that Birmingham City side? Because I think they had. Do you remember the player Daniel Derrida?
Yeah, I do remember Daniel Derrida.
Yeah, I think he was in the same side as Mara Zarate at Birmingham, and it's a bit of an odd. Birmingham had some decent players at the time, but then had some really, really poor players, and obviously Alex McLeish just kind of ruined it when he just. Super defensive football, wasn't it, really?
Exactly. Well, that could well be the quickest wiki files we've ever had. So, thanks, Josh. I did give it to you and say, it'll either be one you get really quickly or it'll be a tough one. So, let's move on.
Bet on next time, Dave. Bet on next time.
That's what I get for picking foreigners. See?
Yeah, I know my foreigners.
You know your Premier League foreigners, so. Okay, right. So let's move on to some questions.
Move on. We had some questions during the week from our listeners, which was lovely to see. So we will tackle the first one. So we had a question from @HyperWars, and the first one was, will Southampton stay up in the Premier League this season? Because they've had a little bit of a tough time. They're kind of languishing at the moment. They're 16th in the league. They play Chelsea later on today, but they've not set the world alight. And neither has Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes came in at the end of last season and kept them up, and obviously then kept his job. And so the pressure's on him to kind of deliver this season. So what are your first thoughts, Dave? I think we had similar thoughts on this, so I think I'll probably echo what you were about to say.
Yeah, I think Yes, I think Southampton will stay up if they get rid of Mark Hughes. I can't. It's sort of like a double-edged. It's like a double-edged question sort of thing. It's like, will Southampton stay up? Yes, but I don't think with their current manager. I think Hughes will be gone before the end of the season. I mean, the way the press and stuff have been talking about Mourinho, I imagine that you'll probably get decent odds on Hughes to be the next manager sacked because Mourinho is so favourable. But I think if they keep Hughes, no, they'll go down. If they get rid of Hughes, yes, they'll stay up, is my answer.
Yeah, Mark Hughes is currently kind of around the teens, kind of 14, 15 to 1 to be sacked. There's 3 managers above him to be sacked. Do you want to take a guess on who those 3 are?
Mourinho, Benitez.
Yep.
And Claude Puel.
One we'd both love to see. No, it's
Neil
Colin
Warnock.
Wanker.
Yeah.
They're the 3 above him at the moment. But yeah, I agree. I think I like Southampton. Always have done. They kind of play nice football. They've had a nice family club. With young English players. I think Danny Ings has been a good sign for you this season. Looks quite good. But I feel that they've been forced into playing 2 up top for a while after a lack of goals last season. But I really don't think it's what suits you. I think you did Southampton quite well last year when they played 3 at the back for a bit. So I think a change of manager will see a change in fortunes. And so yes, you will stay up, but you need to do something about it, which feeds lovely into the next question.
It does, yeah.
Because this is from Deadbeat Bert, and managers and sacking, how soon is too soon and how long is too long? Now I think this is probably intrinsically linked to Jose Mourinho, but we'll link it to that as well as the Mark Hughes situation at Southampton. So if you were Southampton manager, what would you do? When do you twist?
If I was Southampton, if I was the Southampton board or the chairman, I think I would give him. I don't know their run of fixtures, so that would play into my mind as a board member or a chairperson. I think I would look at what he did last year, and he did okay when he came in, but I would also look at his past history, which is why I think Mourinho will get a bit of stay of execution as well because of his past history. But on Mark Hughes, I wouldn't give him very long. I'd probably give him 3 or 4 more games depending on what the fixture list is, because you want to get a new manager in before the January transfer window, give them enough time to work with the players they've already got so that they know who they want to keep and who they want to get rid of and where they need to strengthen. And yeah, I mean, if I was Southampton board, I wouldn't give him very long. So
to get to clarify, then he's got away at Bournemouth next, and then home to Newcastle in the Premier League as the next 2 matches.
Okay,
so
lose both of them.
Yeah, Bournemouth being the South Coast derby, lose that, pressure on, and then you got a very out of form side, lose that, you're gone.
Yeah, which is why I think no matter what the newspaper said, I think if Mourinho had lost to Newcastle, he would have been gone.
The problem I would have, though, I always think if you're sacking a manager, you want them to just have gone past a hard run of games, and you want there to be an international break coming up. So you do not want to bring in a new manager when he's about to play Man City. And if you can have an international break, you've got time to reevaluate this position. Yeah. The next league fixture after those 2 matches is Man City away. So I think you could have a caretaker doing that match, and then your new manager follow match at home to Watford. That's what I'd do.
True.
So
okay.
You heard it first. Southampton to sack Hughes by the end of the month.
Yeah. I mean, to answer the question of how soon is too soon and how long is too long, it's
last season. Frank de Boer got sacked after, was it 7 games?
Yeah.
Is that too soon? No wins, no goals.
No, in that sense, I think that was, you could immediately see straight away the players weren't buying in, and it didn't fit because 0 goals is That's the big killer for me. No matter who your striker is, like aka Christian Benteke, but I mean 0 goals in 7 games is hopeless, isn't it? It's rubbish. I mean, what did you say earlier about Crystal Palace? This season have got 1 point or something, or won 1 game in 7 games.
1 win in the last 7, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not playing really badly. Like De Boer at Crystal Palace, I just think that was a. I think the chairman, what's his face? I've forgotten his name, Jordan something. He just went, yeah, we've got that one wrong. It's not working, so cut ties straight away, and it worked out for the best.
Yeah, I think the problem I had with that appointment in particular was that they were going from Pardew to De Boer, but they weren't. If they wanted that, that's a very big style. You need to back them in the transfer market and then give them time. If you're not going to give them time, you shouldn't have appointed a big change in style.
Yeah.
But to a broader answer to how soon is too soon, I think it probably is a little bit too soon, because there's still things can be rectified. It's how long is too long is, say with Manchester United, if they were to go out of competitions, get away from a pack in terms of top 4, or if you're a team fighting relegation, if you get to a point where it becomes mathematically not impossible, but it becomes almost kind of like you're really going to have to go on some serious run of form to get yourself out of relegation. You need to act before it's too late in those situations. And we've got to a point now where managers don't last long. It's kind of maximum kind of 2 seasons on average, I think, like that. So we are kind of basing it on that, because ultimately you'd like to see managers last a lot longer and really imprint their team, have a few transfer windows. Because I mean, I look at Pep Guardiola. He took a couple of transfer windows before he got it right, and he was backed obviously because they had their first season with him. So
yeah, but
it does take a while.
The flip side of that is coming back to, again, what you said earlier in this podcast, is Celtic. Now, are they stalling under Brendan Rodgers because the players are bored of playing for Brendan Rodgers, sort of thing? It's like that. I know Celtic is a sort of its own little bubble, because there's just there could be general complacency with the players thinking, we're going to stroll this, but it's sort of like that's a good question. How long would you? What does it need for Brendan Rodgers to get sacked by Celtic?
I think part of it is also going to be the unknown. Is what's your other option?
Are they
waiting for someone? Are they waiting for someone to be released, removed? Is there some contractual issues that I know someone who's been released has got waiting for payment, some legal elements to it. But you do wonder when a club sacks a manager. Do they often know? Have they put the feelers out there? Do they know what their position the manager they're wanting is in? Do they know they're interested?
That's always a really contentious issue with me, because football clubs will get moaned at if they sack a manager and don't have someone lined up to take a spot. Like, they'll be like, oh, how can you sack the manager when you don't have someone lined up or even thought or done processes about who a good candidate should be? But then they also get moaned at. So let's say Mourinho got sacked and Man United appointed Zidane in like 2 days' time. They'd be like, oh, how can they be chatting to Zidane while Mourinho is in the job, and how can they do that? So I don't think clubs can win either way in that sense. I will say I think Mark Hughes might outlast the end of the month just because there isn't a viable option that can take the job.
Yeah.
Although Big Sam is probably knocking up his CV right now.
Big Sam is available, yeah. I was just thinking about Big Sam, David Moyes, just old, faithful.
Yeah.
I mean, Frank de Boer's still available if they wanted to go that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if we answered the question. It's a very hard question to answer, but...
Well, my ultimate thing is how long is too long is before your season is cast adrift, if you are out of running for what you wanted to be in the running for. So if your league status is at risk or your top 4 status is at risk, obviously if you're a mid-table club, you might as well see the season out and get on with it. It's obviously less pressure in that situation, but
true.
So Deadbeat Bert had another question, and was about supporting English teams in Europe. Do you support all English teams in Europe due to any reasons, nationality, coefficients, etc.? Or so, what are your kind of rules and regs for supporting English teams in Europe, Dave?
I don't know. It's so conflicted. There's loads of times when I really want to support English teams in Europe. I find it generally quite hard to support Man City, whoever they're playing against. and I'll always find a reason to support the European team they're against. Oh, they've got an ex-Man United youth player. Yeah, but they're playing Anderlecht. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Sort of thing like that. But it's like, I'll always support Spurs. I'd always look out for Spurs to win in Europe. I'd always like Spurs to win in Europe. I think they're a good team to do that. I've never had any ill feelings against Chelsea in Europe, apart from the Moscow final when Man United obviously won it on penalties. So I obviously didn't want Chelsea to win that one. But I don't know. I don't understand this big tribal hatred between clubs. Like, I don't understand it. It's best for England if English teams do well, but I don't. Like, I'd like Man City to do well in the competition, but not win it. If that makes sense. I'd like them to do well and get to like maybe the quarterfinals. If Man United aren't going to win it, then yeah, that would be good for them to go far, but get beaten in the final or something like that. Unless it's a Liverpool-esque Milan comeback in Istanbul, because I was happy that Liverpool won that. That was incredible.
Out of interest, who did you support in the last Champions League final?
What, in
Liverpool, Real Madrid?
Liverpool, Madrid. I support Madrid.
Yeah, I found it more difficult since Spurs are coming into the Champions League, and Spurs are obviously now on a level with these teams and competing for the same competitions. Obviously, we're not at the level of Man City. We're a little bit below that. I found it much harder because obviously previously, I know when Spurs were languishing kind of mid-table, and I know, like, say for example, Leeds were up there, or Newcastle were in there, or Manchester United and Arsenal. I found it much easier to support the English sides. I would always support an English side. Used to love watching them because, I used to love watching the Champions League because you get to see the best players, and obviously I dreamt of Spurs being amongst it, but they never were. But now that we're amongst it, I'm like, that could have been us. For example, Liverpool's Champions League run last year, it was fortuitous in elements, and you think, really, Spurs could have gone on such a run because it's just one-off games, or kind of like, it's not a whole full season of 38 games where things go right. You have knockout matches, be it two legs, but you think, it could have been us, and so therefore jealousy sets in, and I go, no, I'm not supporting it. But that's, I kind of accept Man City, I accept Man United, because Man United have always been that mainstay who I love seeing. I used to love watching them in Champions League. We spoke a few weeks back about favourite matches, and then Manchester United 1999, great. Chelsea, I will forever hate their guts for when they beat Bayern Munich in the Champions League final, which meant Spurs didn't get in the Champions League, so no. Arsenal, being Arsenal, I used to played good football and had Thierry Henry leading the line and were kind of tearing teams apart. Now it's just, I don't mind watching them, but one, they're in the Europa League, and two, I don't play exciting football now, but I don't not support them.
But from what it sounds like though, is that you're not supporting necessarily the English teams. Like Chelsea, okay, we'll write them off because you said you don't support them. You're generally supporting the teams that, if they're an English team that are playing like aesthetically pleasing football, if it's good to watch.
Yeah, ultimately it becomes just kind of like what I enjoy seeing. I don't like seeing negative football, so if they're playing nice football and they're an English side, I don't go out my way to support them. I don't go away to not support them, but it kind of very much depends. It's more, I don't really think about coefficient. Because whatever it will be. That doesn't really come into my kind of train of thought. And then sometimes it'll be determined by, if you take a second glance, you go, hold on, this Arsenal side has got 0 English players in it. What am I supporting here?
That's a good point.
Really.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm supporting anything English about it. I might do for next week, actually. I've been thinking about which Premier League side has got the best small, like 5 or 6-a-side English team. So obviously you look at, I know, Leicester. They've got, you can have Maddison, you can have Vardy, you can have Gray in it. And taking that English quorum, who's got the best one? So I'm intrigued to see if anyone punches above their weight, because obviously some sides have no English players or very few English players. So I might try and do something like that for next week to see who's got a good matchup there.
That sounds good. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay, it does also lead us on to the last question from Shiv M. Cayley, who wrote in last week as well. Who is getting the Champions League and Europa League spots at the end of the season? So he said spots, so he's not assuming. I'm assuming he's not, doesn't mean cups. He literally means by league position. Yeah,
so I imagine the top 4 and the fifth at the moment, the 5th place side, isn't it?
You reckon that will stay as it is?
No. So I'm Man City, Liverpool for sure.
Yeah.
I think Tottenham will get a Champions League space as well.
Yeah.
No, I do think the top four will stay as it is actually. So Arsenal and Man United are vying for the 5th place. I don't think any other sides will be able to sustain the pressure. Like we've got Bournemouth in there now. We've talked about Wolves being quite good, and Watford had a good early season start. So I think it's between Arsenal and United for the 5th place. I would go.
Yeah, go on. Who do you think's 5th then? Arsenal.
I would go. Moment I'd go with Arsenal because of the turmoil at United. It's too much in the balance around how they change of manager.
Okay.
And how that potential change of managers it would be.
Yep. So I think it'll be the top 3 that are currently top 3 will get it. Man City, Liverpool, Spurs will all get Champions League, and I think Arsenal and Chelsea will switch around. I think Chelsea won't be able to keep up with the intensity that Sarri's asking them to play at, and I think they'll drop off. I think they're relying too much on Eden Hazard at the moment, whereas Arsenal, although they're not playing the best football, they are not ultimately relying on just 1 or 2 players. Although you could argue that Lacazette and Aubameyang are scoring all their goals, but they have a bit. I don't know. I've just got a feeling about Arsenal. I think Unai Emery will get them back in the Champions League this season, and then won't be very successful next season. But yeah, that's. And I don't think. Excuse me. I'm with you. I think the turmoil at Man United won't see them finish in the top 5, which is depressing. Really, now I think about it.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well. Chin up. Tottenham will be in there. So.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, thanks for the questions. If you've got any others, obviously we'll put a poll out every week about something that's happened during the week or involving something. And yeah, it's always good to get questions from you. And we're sort of turning it into a little feature now, aren't we? Answering viewers, listeners' questions.
Yeah. Absolutely. So keep them coming.
Yeah.
End the podcast with the final answer to my quiz question. So the quiz question was: Josh King is now the 5th highest Norwegian goal scorer in Premier League history. Who are the other 4? And so Dave successfully answered Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Tor Andre Flo, and John Carew. And so there's one player missing. I mean, I'll give Dave one last chance if he wants to put forward a final name.
I've got 2 names, and I know they've both scored a hat-trick in the Premier League. And the first one I'm going to go with is a Spurs player, Stefan Everson.
Oh, all right. Okay. I'll let you say your other name first as well.
The other name is Jan Arji Fjortov, but I don't think he actually scored that many. I know he just scored a hat-trick.
I have literally never heard of that player, unless you're pronouncing him incredibly poorly.
Jan Arji Fjortov played for Swindon, did the aeroplane celebration, really in the early days of the Premier League.
Well, as we know by the Paul Rideout rule, I am a 96 man onwards.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. Yeah.
But luckily for you, you were right with your first guess. It was Stefan Everson, the other Norwegian name on the list. So all of them strikers.
Yeah.
And and
excellent.
they are all quite liked strikers, I'd say. They're all few cult heroes in there. I think Troy Andre Flo, due to his lankiness, John Carew, due to his lankiness, and he's quite a nice man. I think did a lot for charity.
Yeah.
Stefan Everson was kind of like Spurs' best striker in the early Premier League days, which is not saying much. And I don't need to say much more about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but and then Josh King, who again, much like Marcus Bettinelli, you didn't think was English. You don't think Josh King is Norwegian.
No, yeah, very true, very true. I like Josh King because he was a good youth prospect at United, and then sort of got cast away and has fought back to now come back into the Premier League. So he's done, yeah, it's good. And John Carew is the first ever real, proper, out-and-out target man I remember in the Premier League.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was a giant, wasn't he, John Carew?
Oh, he was a big lad, 6'5", something like that. Yeah, but also, like, just physically well, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And they Villa signed him from Valencia, which was a coup at the time, because Valencia were
No. Villa signed him from Lyon.
Oh. Did he go to... When was he at Valencia, then?
Valencia was his... earlier on in his career, I think.
Oh, okay.
He played in Norway, then that was his first major European club was Valencia.
Oh, okay. Damn you and your knowledge of foreign footballers in the Premier League. I'm going back to English wiki files. In 2 weeks' time, when it's my time to go again, I'm going to English footballers. They cause you more havoc.
Well, they do, yeah. Well, that draws a close to this week's podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Football Talk. You can find us on SoundCloud at Football Talk. And you can find us on Twitter at Football Talk. But remember,
There's no A
in football.
Just
so that
Josh,
concludes this week.
Josh,
Oh,
I forgot about this. Breaking news. I forgot to let you know. Breaking news. If you type in Football Talk on SoundCloud, we're now the number one search result that comes up.
Oh, yes.
So thank you for all the listens and all the likes and all that on SoundCloud, because you've propelled us to number one when you search for Football Talk, which is great.
Fantastic.
I thought I'd end on that. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
End on that high? No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's a good interruption.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Dave. So it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from
me.
Hey, oh, that was pre-planned, wasn't it?
Cool. Thank you very much for listening, guys.
Enjoy. Yes, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers. We're out.